got Louisiana tags. Notify Louisiana State Police. We're moving
You're
quick.
straight stupid. You feel me?
Fuck yourself.
Gots to get done. Happy 420. They talking.
Man.
Hey, Louisiana 670 George John Ida. Show me 1037.
Posted another police car,
Be a hard
bro.
time getting TBI and all that.
Oh yeah, he wild. I ain't even beat him.
I think I heard the
Oh.
sirens like
Nah, that ain't no police shit. Why he swerving like that though?
trying to.
Am I swerved in that corner? Whoa, whoa.
You ever turn on that 28?
Trying to fake. Trying to.
He ain't about to fake nobody in the nowhere. It's a 2-lane highway.
Yeah. Yeah, but not
Trying to block him from getting next to him.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
But that ain't gonna do nothing. You gotta out Florida. You worry about the bottom.
Yeah, it ain't gonna
Really
do
want to
nothing.
stop him.
It
Slam
ain't
on the
gonna do
brakes.
shit but get him pity. His dumb ass dragging on the shoulder. He about to get.
Exactly. He gonna end up flipping that bitch. He get tapped while going over a little bump on his shoulder. That shit come go flying, brother. Look, he just slammed on the brakes. Look, he just slammed on the brakes. Look, he dumb as hell. Look what he doing. He doing a bunch
1038
of
at the
stupid
13.
shit. You gonna go in the grass
As the
with a
pursuit
rear-wheel
locked
drive
in at
car.
triple
Like,
digits,
come on,
it
gang.
became terrifyingly clear that the
Like, what are you
suspect
doing?
wasn't just fast,
What is
he
he
was
doing,
calculated. Every time the trooper moved in for a pit, the driver would aggressively bait it, slamming the brakes to force an overshoot before slingshotting back into the lead.
Oh, what is that dragging though?
That's some shit. Yeah, some shit already dragging. Like it's clip. Oh, that's just some
Yeah, that's the
plastic
bot.
shit. Yeah, that's just some plastic shit.
Plastic.
We ain't worried about that. Get up out of there, nigga. That shit don't got not going nowhere. He on his ass.
Come on.
That nigga
Walk
ain't
him
finished.
down, dude.
That nigga ain't get the finish closing his gas tank on bro. That bitch still
That shit
open.
don't even close. That shit old as hell, brother. You can tell he beat on that motherfucker. That's real life, his car. Beat on that motherfucker. Just doing shit, you feel me?
Did I go back in there and get replayed?
He's still on his ass. Oh! Oh! The median blood! Cocker was packed himself up, gang.
1038. He's still southbound, not 1038.
Oh, he's out of
He's
there.
still southbound, passing the 1 now.
The chess match reached a boiling point at 118 miles per hour. When the trooper finally locked in for the pit, Xavier Javelin Wright decided to strike first. Turning his 4,000-pound Charger into a battering ram, he violently smashed straight into the patrol cruiser, nearly killing the trooper on impact. The massive hit sent the cruiser tearing through a steel cable barrier, eventually stopping directly in the oncoming interstate lane. His 4,000-pound is point at 100.
He's still southbound, passing the 1 now.
The chess
I know
match
they ain't
reached
just try
a
to
boiling
blame the
point at
driver that
118
happened.
miles
Nah,
per
nigga, the
hour.
cop tried
When the
to
trooper
hit him.
finally locked in for
It
the
didn't
pit,
work. That wasn't
Xavier
his fault that he
Javelin
was
Wright
flying
decided to
across
strike
oncoming
first.
traffic.
Turning his 4,000-pound Charger into a battering ram, he violently smashed
Hell
straight
nah,
into the
fuck
patrol
outta
car,
here. They
nearly
trying to
killing
play
the
that
trooper on
shit off,
impact.
buddy.
The massive hit
Them
sent the
got
cruiser
bullied.
tearing through a steel cable barrier, eventually stopping directly in the oncoming interstate lanes. Thank God there was no high-speed traffic flying toward the crippled cruiser, or it would have been a completely different story. Wright kept running, but was later found crashed out across the Louisiana state line, earning a stack of violent felonies. His hit-and-run stunt just bought him up to 15 years in prison. Some people buy a 700-horsepower Hellcat and instantly think they're a good driver. Fake confidence, big engine, until the GSP boys show up and give us another highlight reel. On October 22nd, 2022, a trooper on SR 166 spotted a black Dodge Charger Hellcat with an illegal tag frame.
Okay, man, let's
The
get it,
driver
man. We
slowed,
doing
waved like he
reactions.
was cool, then floored it.
Why not?
Talking about waved like he was cool and then floored it. Right, we did see this.
I think maybe. I'm not sure.
166.
Probably
we
did.
watched this. Because I think they were saying he a rookie because he didn't turn his lights off.
Black Hellcat.
All black. Yeah, I got a distance where he didn't turn his lights off. But nah, I think that was we didn't watch it.
He back on him. He back on him. Keep making a shoulder.
Nah, for real.
Pop trolling. You don't want to catch him, bro. Get him out of there on him. Get him out of there on him. Oh, okay.
Are you serious? Get out of the way.
United Flag. United
The
Flag.
Hellcat was nearly 150 miles per hour, but the GSP trooper stayed glued to him. Then the driver made his worst mistake. The interstate was his best chance to keep distance, but he bailed off and dove into narrow city streets, where that 700 horsepower advantage suddenly didn't help much.
Say goodbye.
Alright, we're on the road now.
That shit scared him right there on that turn.
Oh wait, I think we seen this, brother. I think this nigga got away.
Northbound from Orange. Road C.
I think he get
I think I remember this path, folks. I'm not sure. Is that a white potty car?
Trevor passing in Dale. Northbound on Barron.
I think.
Oh, y'all not finna tap out already? I was just
crazy.
Wrong side of the road.
I knew y'all was gonna say that shit. I was like, let me see what they gonna say if I say that.
I'm rolling up another one.
Look,
I already got weed grounded up. I just
I
gotta
didn't
roll.
cut
He
a couple
rammed
of
his
these
ass,
bitches.
brother. He rammed his ass.
hands up. Niggas like, I got 4 prepared.
Shit, I done cut a couple leaves. I'm about to get right. He called, brother?
Oh.
Now do I.
The GSP trooper destroyed the
Damn.
Hellcat, clean
Damn.
pit, and ended the run right there.
Them ties
Looks
up,
like
boy.
leaving the interstate plan didn't work. The driver, Mr. Powell, was taken into custody and transported to Grady Trauma Center with minor injuries. In Georgia, felony fleeing alone carries 1 to 5 years, and that was before the rest of the charges even started stacking up.
Muchillo, that's a random ass
Nashville is
question.
known
I
for
think
country
he was
music,
cocoa
but at 1:30 a.m.,
Fucking
22-year-old Carlos Esquivel decided it needed more tire smoke. Spotted
But
tearing up
mad
Korean
random,
Veterans
yo.
Boulevard in a silver Challenger, he treated the city like a private drift pad. When police tried to pull him over, Esquivel didn't just run, he hopped onto I-24 and started
I'm
performing
fucking
donuts
crying,
right in
OG.
front of the officer's
What
cruiser.
you doing?
21 201 and a Carlos
Drifting up.
Drive.
He do not got the wheel, brother.
Cruiser onto
Brother.
I-20.
But
Run it
Oh,
back,
yeah.
run it back, run it back.
yeah, he do not got the wheel, brother. Gee.
Spotted tearing up Korean Veterans
Fuck, he thought
Boulevard
he
in a
was,
silver
gang.
Challenger, he treated the city like a private drift pad. When police tried to pull him over, Esquivel didn't just run, he hopped
Yeah,
onto
he-
I-24 and
They
Bro,
said he
what?
treated the city like a so he was doing this
Yeah,
on
he was
purpose,
drifting,
brother.
yeah, he was
started
drifting.
doing
performing
this on
donuts
purpose.
right in front of
He's
the
trying to show
officer's
off.
cruiser.
21
Ah, he tried to show off.
201
And knocked out,
ass
dummy.
Drive.
Dumbass boy. Stupid ass, believe ass nigga. Look,
And I'm sorry.
he thought he had it.
Alicia looking at this nigga like, bro, you could barely
He don't got it.
What is you
Got
doing?
it. Oh,
That nigga's just
Brother, he
adding
don't got
fucking
it,
charges.
brother. He
as
just
we
doing
speak.
shit. He just doing shit. He got a
Hell
passenger
no.
too, brother. He got a passenger. He's showing
Oh,
out for
boy.
man.
hey, buddy, he tried to show off. his
Esquivel's
trophy.
performance peaked when he
Oh,
accelerated
right,
against
that was
traffic
so
and
out.
slammed his Challenger head-on into a patrol car. injuring an officer.
like, "Go over,
He
go
ditched the
over."
wreck but surrendered hours later, trading
He's
his
scared
keys
as
for
hell in
charges
that
like
bitch with his
aggravated
ass on,
assault
bro.
on an officer and felony evading. In Tennessee,
dumb
these
as
charges
hell,
carry a
fool.
potential sentence of 3 to 15 years in prison.
He do not
But
got the
between the
wheel.
human smuggling in Texas and this failed drift session, it's clear these cars are way more powerful than the brains behind the wheel. On January 24,
man.
2024,
Stop trying
a
to drive shit
Dodge
y'all don't
Charger
know. Your
caught the
BT was the
attention
word.
of
I
an
was telling
Arkansas
you,
trooper
bro.
on the
Bro,
Interstate
bro,
40, thanks to a dark
Smoking
tinted
right with
cover
y'all? You
hiding
ain't
an
smoking
expired
for real,
license
nigga.
plate that belonged to a completely
hopping to
different vehicle.
Discord.
When the trooper hit his lights, the driver
what's the
played
word? You ain't
along,
happy
pulling over
420
just
gang?
long
Welcome
enough
in.
to lure him out of his cruiser. But the moment his boots hit the pavement, the compliant act was over.
Oh, y'all there on them.
I feel like they should wait till they get a little closer. Like,
Wait till they get damn near to the window. Like,
That
Right,
nigga-
they don't even let them close their door yet, boy.
I'm act like I'm getting registration and all that. Yeah, I'll roll the window down,
Real
lean
shit.
over and just stomp that shit on.
God. Right when they
That way
say
he
turn
already
that
relaxed.
engine
He's
off,
like, oh,
nigga.
why? He not gonna run. You feel me? He relaxed. He chilling. Now I'm out of there on him. You feel me? Tell him, man, how was your day today, my boy? Do another one. I don't know. I think that nigga going on him. He said, who that nigga chasing?
Oh, bro.
He out of there on his ass. Oh, he don't know which way he went.
Right.
Let me know which way you go. Yeah, I'm almost there.
I think I see him.
The
Oh,
pursuit
yeah,
turned
yeah,
into a
yeah.
high-speed
You saw him hit
suicide
the past
mission as Morrow treated the narrow shoulders like a
he on
private
that, bro.
passing
He right
lane
there.
to
He on his
bypass
ass.
traffic.
It's raining
I'm doing
too.
good, bro. I'm doing good. We just
I
chilling.
ain't gonna
Yeah, he
lie,
wild
brother.
with a rear wheel drive in the rain.
Yeah, this about to, this ain't gonna
It might
end
get
well.
crazy. It might get crazy.
He on the
Like,
E-way with
spinning
it,
into
bro, in
some
the
shit.
rain.
I can barely
Looking
see in
like-
the rain, so I know it's bumping.
It's not
Let's see if he
no.
got. Let's see if he got it.
Do some of them be getting away, or these are all about like getting caught?
Maybe getting away. Niggas be getting away.
Oh, he look like he moving to more of a rural. He might have a little decent pathway, but it look like where he was at first, it was in the traffic. So he getting away from.
I ain't gonna lie, he's dumb as hell. At that split, I would have took off. Hit a turn, hit the nearest turn, boom. Hit 2 more turns on him, boom. Out of there. Gonna hold the whole opposite direction. He lost. He don't know whether I went left or right, man. These niggas be cooking. You got the point is, once you get that gap, you gotta get it. You
Yeah,
gotta
just
be able
hold
to
it
be
up.
you gotta be unseen.
Oh,
But he about to.
oh yeah, he about to.
Oh,
He's turning around, going the wrong way.
understand.
He's trying to turn around, go the wrong way.
Turned
Oh,
around.
he
He turned around, brother.
5 where you at? Or 2, 1 where you at?
When the trooper
might get
moved
up
in
out
for
of
a
it
pit,
from him.
she
Oh, he
executed
put
a
a
desperate
GTA
brake
on his
check to
ass.
force him past her before pulling a violent U-turn.
55 going the wrong way towards,
Hey, look, brother, little
back
back
towards
in the
Mound
chat.
City.
Yo, you couldn't score 4 points today, nigga?
Hey nigga, you
Looked at
saw
him,
my
driving in the
motherfucking
fast lane
parlay,
wrong way,
nigga.
took Mound City.
Nah, what's the word though, Dennis? How we feeling, gang?
I'm driving on the shoulder, trying to follow behind
That's
him.
why
Looks
we
like he
keep
may have
sending
wrecked. He
your
wrecked
ass
out, wrecked out, wrecked out.
overseas
Black male,
Oh, he
green
messed
t-shirt,
up?
running across 40. Black male, green t-shirt,
hold
dread,
up, bro.
running across 40. Green
Damn.
t-shirt, out, wrecked out, wrecked out.
Oh,
Damn. How did this happen? Oh, that shit happened. That shit happened back here. Look, that truck already
Yeah, he
stopped.
could have got it. Yeah, he could have got away, but
Oh,
no.
it happened right there. It just happened. I seen him trying to hit on his brake. Yeah. I think that's them right there.
Driving on the shoulder, trying to follow behind him. Looks
Oh, no,
like
it's
he
right
He
here.
wrecked out, wrecked out, wrecked out.
Oh.
Black male, green
yeah,
t-shirt,
'cause
running
he
across
did.
40. Black male,
Yeah.
green t-shirt,
oh,
dread,
he
He's
running
running.
across 40.
to the right, but he across to the right. running.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
Damn, his
Morrow's
ass.
high-speed gamble hit a wall of cold steel when she slammed head-on into a semi-truck at full tilt. Despite the
Wait, that's
violent
a
crunch of
female?
metal, she managed to
she
scramble out of the
running,
wreckage and
fool?
attempt a final desperate
He is
sprint on
savage,
foot.
shorty.
It didn't work.
She's trying to get
Kyla
up
Marl
out
was
that
quickly
jam,
apprehended
brother.
and slapped with a massive
what was
17-charge indictment, including aggravated
okay, it
assault
makes
and
sense.
felony fleeing.
I was about to
Don't
say, you
reach.
sat there.
Don't reach.
Ate a sip out the truck.
Quit reaching.
Man, like ain't shit happened.
Know what you got in there?
Stop reaching.
Not only trying to get you drove, trying to make sure you ain't got nothing to kill me with. Is there anything in that pocket over there?
What did they just take a strap off?
Nah.
In Arkansas,
phone.
this level of
Nah,
recklessness,
not the phone.
17-charge
It was
indictment,
keys,
including
Vaseline,
aggravated
and a
assault
phone.
and felony fleeing.
Don't reach. Don't reach.
Oh, that
Quit
was a
reaching.
keychain? That's what it was?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Know what you got in there?
Okay.
Stop reaching.
I'm like, it was something.
Not only trying to get you drove, trying to make sure you ain't got nothing to kill me with. Is there anything in that pocket over there?
In
the word,
Arkansas,
though, Dennis?
this
You
level
smooth?
of recklessness carries a potential sentence of 6 to 21 years.
Damn.
On October 4th, 2025, troopers
got
pulled
one.
over a
Roll them
black
out the roll,
Dodge
another
Charger RT tied to a Walmart theft on MLK
Oh, RT they
bypass.
cook. Them
With a
shit
car
slow.
like that, you can outrun most troopers, and this driver, Kavana Hampton, clearly believed it. But here's the question. If you can afford a Charger RT, why are you stealing energy drinks from Walmart?
Them shit slow.
Energy drink gang. He running from an energy drink?
Oh, took off on his ass.
Look how the nigga looking like.
That
And
nigga
he
said, yeah,
already
fuck
got the
all
look.
that.
He already got the other cop on his ass too. They ain't do shit but a look. I'm
Oh,
on it.
damn, right on their ass. I got him.
Brian.
I got him.
We got him, boy.
That's why he like, bro.
He said, man, you fucking idiot. Hell no. Oh,
Oh.
Top
Yeah,
of
that
him
was
backed up.
bad for him.
He said, "Know that slow shit, man. Watch out. I got it." Gotta burn down top of the website. I'm fucking crying. Hey, brother, look what Dennis said. Nah, get your money though, my boy.
Hey, next time. Oh, good old bro. I done had an unlucky week, but I had a good year though. You feel me? So I can't even be too bad. Had a good year so far.
The Charger was doing pretty
My
good.
shit
He
been
built a
low-key
huge
slacking,
gap on
but
the
the past
interstate,
week,
and the trooper was
nah.
struggling to even get close.
I've been
But
losing
pushing
off
the
some
gas
random
and
ass
handling a curve aren't the same
I
thing.
made a couple,
As soon
you know
as he
what I'm
hit a
saying?
sharp
yeah, she
curve on the
talking to
exit,
him, brother.
he lost control and totaled the Charger on the
He
spot.
posed it.
I thought she did it right there.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh!
Damn,
Oh!
The driver ran off on
Look,
foot,
Cox
leaving
did that
his
on
injured
purpose.
passenger
He-
behind.
Nah, he
It
did
didn't
that.
last.
He did that on purpose, brother. He seen
had
all
to-
that going on.
He said,
Oh, nah,
I'm
he
gonna
lost control.
mobilize this.
Nah, he
Yeah,
did
I told
lose
you,
The
he
driver
almost
ran off
overed
on
up.
foot, leaving
Yeah,
his
he did
injured
overed
passenger
up.
behind. It didn't last long. He was quickly found and taken into custody. He now faces felony fleeing with injury, fleeing on foot, and multiple charges, putting him at 5 to 10 years in prison. The Dodge Charger is a total magnet for heat. It's officially one of the most stolen cars in the U.S., which is why cops always give them a second look. On March 15th, 2022, a Georgia State
But I'm
Patrol
so locked in, I
trooper
gotta
spotted
remember I'm
this
recording
red
this video, too.
392 with
I done
window
went to the
tint so
next
dark
one.
it was
Shit, like-
practically a rolling blackout. When the lights went on, 26-year-old Antoine
I'm in
Pierce
this bitch
decided
till
to
1
floor
a.m. Oh, you
it,
ain't got
despite
that
having
long left.
485 horsepower at his disposal.
That shit
His
gonna
driving
hide, though?
skills were bottom tier.
Breezy, what's the word, Breezy? How we feeling?
Still got it. He ain't cooked yet. He cooked
Oh,
yet.
he said, "Oh, you trying to play like that? Out of here."
Yeah, let me
How you
talk to
feeling?
you
He's
now.
30.
He about to lead a bumper, bro.
Bobbing and shit. He ain't got no choice but to that shit.
He about to
12
to
bit
drive
the back of
off
the
that
car.
motherfucker.
He just smoking there, chilling and bobbing and shit. Nothing too crazy, man.
Look, the wind blowing that shit off.
Debating if I'ma get on rank and
He
shit.
pushing that bitch.
Rank woods on, might be on that.
Oh, he lost the bumper to the wind, bro.
Once you get the flying, brother, that shit. He flying through that motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie.
That bitch still dragging. Oh, I think it just.
I'm trying to debate if I'ma get on rank woods on. I'm trying to see if my third gonna be on or not. Here, Kate, what's the word, Kate?
This shit look like
I'm fucking
Indiana.
crying. Nah, this is Atlanta.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, damn, they both cooked? Oh, damn. Oh, I think he was just slowing down. Why his car sound like that, though? Oh, that's his car doing it.
After his quality
His
parking
ass-
job against the pole,
Bro just
Antoine
walking.
Pierce
He
tried
just
to walk
walking.
away like he was just out for a morning
Hell nah, gang.
stroll. The GSP
fucking
trooper
crying.
wasn't buying the act. When Pierce refused to lay down, he got a taste of the taser.
What you
He
mean
actually
they
tried to
wasn't
pull the
buying that
probes
act?
out of
They
his
just
skin
watched
before a
his ass
second
get out the
zap
car.
finally hit the
Oh,
off
bro.
switch. Inside the wrecked Dodge, police
He
found a
don't
silver
got it.
revolver and a backpack stuffed with prescription pills. It turns out this wasn't his first rodeo. He'd already been busted for fleeing just 2 months prior. Even at the precinct, Antoine Pierce couldn't stop the theatrics,
Gucci
kicking
belt.
doors and yelling at officers. He bragged that he would be back on the streets in no time and claimed that the next time police saw him, he would be behind the wheel of a Trackhawk. It was a bold statement
guess
for
I
a
see
guy
why
who
he
had
just
just
got
lost
out
a
and
fight
walked.
to a
Man,
stationary
get the fuck
object.
out of here.
Brother, he said, I ain't doing no
On
running.
May 8th, 2021,
No, I'm
a
not. But I
GSP
know I got
trooper
that
spotted
will. I'm
this
not gonna
Challenger
lose
near
it like
McDaniel
that.
Street, a car that had
Shit.
already embarrassed
Smoking that
multiple other
super pack
units
is
earlier
crazy.
that
I gotta
day.
stop
The
doing
trooper
that.
was determined not to be the next one left,
You a
looking silly, but as
civilian,
soon as
Kate.
he pulled into the lot, the driver
wrote a
pinned the
chill.
throttle and
Wow.
dove onto Interstate 20 West.
She tweaking. Oh yeah, out
Yeah,
of
she
here.
didn't even.
Yeah, don't even worry about it, brother.
I think she did that on purpose. Because I think when she did that before and she don't think she's good.
Touch me. You just want to be on some freak shit talking about some, oh, I like that belt. Like, get your little horny ass on.
Hey, nah, you know how old he was while you over there talking about you smoking off. You know how old folks was. Do your homework, Kate.
I be
You know what I'm
motherfucking
saying?
honcho with 13 motherfucking months, gang. Get that motherfucking love. What's the word, my boy? I was cool.
That'd be 13 piece,
Finish your
no
honcho
basis.
some motherfucking love. That's in my gangster. Hey, no one believes me. Like, absolutely no one believes me. Y'all ready to smoke?
Know that?
Yeah.
Got that rolling up my
Tell her
next
Kate to
one.
shut up. I'm crying.
No, I was raising my hand,
The
but I
open
was telling
interstate
her
was
to
the ultimate
Oh.
sweet spot
not
for the
tell
Challenger,
you.
where it simply gapped the trooper and left his patrol
Then you
car
looked at
looking
the
like it was
screen, and I'm
standing
like,
still.
Caught it.
Realizing
Look,
his
caught it.
cruiser was
Caught it.
physically
Red-handed.
outmatched by those
I
485
thought I was
horses,
putting my hand like
the
I do
officer
that.
had to kill his sirens and concede the win as the suspect vanished into the Atlanta traffic. Sometimes the
Make
Oh,
bad
he
guys
got out of
actually
there on
pull a
that?
fast one. The
Kate,
driver
chill,
eventually
bro,
ditched the car
chill.
at 212 Harwell Place and melted into the
Dogs and
neighborhood before the
bananas.
perimeter could close. While the state added another Challenger to the impound lot, the person behind the wheel walked away with a clean
You gonna see
getaway.
me and the next thing you know I disappear and shit.
What? Wait,
Senator
he
True
got
ditched
away?
the Atlanta traffic.
He got away on
Sometimes
their
the bad
ass,
guys
brother.
actually pull a fast one.
What? That
The
nigga
driver
ran-
eventually ditched the
Gee.
car at 212
It's that
Harwell
sun
Place
glare.
and melted into the neighborhood before
That
the
sun
perimeter
glare
could
fucking nigga
close.
up on
While the
Ah,
state added
yeah.
another Challenger to the
I can't
impound
even
lot,
see
Bottom
shit.
there on
the person
the
They was
behind the wheel
already
walked
gone.
away
Look,
with a
look,
clean
the car
getaway.
was already parked. He was already.
On May 9, 2025, a white Challenger became a rolling hazard in Webb County, Texas. The driver, 20-year-old Humberto Misael Garcia, was busy smuggling 4 people through Laredo when TXDPS troopers tried to end his trip. Garcia treated the neighborhood like a racetrack, hitting 100 miles per hour before slamming into a wall.
Dumbass, don't got it. Slammed into a wall, big stupid ass boy. Big dumbass boy.
Vehicle just turned on into Monterrey at 10:50 against the wall.
Like, get me.
Nigga,
This
this
nigga
a
ain't got no
regular
time to
ass
run or nothing.
turn. How
I
do
had to
you
shower and
like,
get my
what it-
phone fixed. We back to DC rolling and
Vehicle
smoking.
just
Hell
turned
yeah, have a
on
good
into
day today.
Monterrey at 10:50 against the wall.
That's this turn up, gang.
Oh God.
I don't know how to do a 90-degree turn. Nigga then knock this damn hood
The
off.
impact sent the hood flying open, but instead of quitting, he kept the
His ass can't even
485
see.
horsepower engine
He don't
pinned.
even know where the fuck
He spent the
going.
next several miles driving
Would y'all,
completely blind,
if
with
it
the
got to
mangled
this
hood
point, would
pinned
y'all
against
stop
his
or would
windshield.
y'all keep trying to go?
I
I would have like slammed to make that bitch close back or something, you feel me? Possibly.
Hit the brake.
On bro. And then
But both of
kept
y'all gonna
going,
still keep
shit.
going though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
We
already
gonna do it,
running
so I
shit.
went back to
It's
slam
on
the
the
brake.
stop sign of McPherson. It's just 10:50
Oh,
Laredo.
oh,
10:50
Oh,
with the
yeah, because he can't
vehicle.
see his
Send
dumb
EMS.
ass.
Driver's wearing red shorts, white shirt.
Watching Humberto Misael Garcia navigate was painful enough when he had a clear view. But now imagine him
Big
trying to
dumbass.
handle all that
He
power
don't
with a
got
face
it.
full of
Big
metal.
dumbass.
Don't got it
Predictably,
at
he
all,
blew
huh?
through a red light and plowed into an innocent
you cause
driver,
an accident with
finally killing the
randoms,
car.
like civilians
Garcia
and
tried
shit,
to
it'd be
ditch the
even
scene
worse.
on foot, but a taser deployment quickly ended his sprint.
Fuck, they take this dumbass.
I'm crying.
Humberto, where you going? Come here, man. Get caught, buddy.
Get down! Get down! Get down!
Get down. Get down. He said, turn around. Turn around. Run it back, brother. Run it back.
He said, yeah. Trick, yeah.
That nigga lame.
Troopers pulled 4 illegal immigrants from the wreckage, while Humberto Misael Garcia was hauled off to face a laundry list of
That's mad
felonies.
funny though.
On May 5th, 2023,
fucking
Trooper
crying,
Spencer
gang.
Morris spotted a Dodge Charger in West Memphis, the same car that had already caused problems earlier in Little Rock by outrunning 2 ASP units. The moment the driver realized
Oh, you can
ASP
keep
was behind him, he didn't wait
outrun police. You're on the
around. He
dummy
pushed
mission
gas
today.
and instantly ran it up to 120 miles per hour.
1037, 55 south.
Before he even
It's gonna be
he didn't even hit the lights on his ass yet, brother. He
Oh,
just
bro,
took
he
off
knew he was
his
on
ass.
bullshit.
right now.
He said, "Yeah, I ain't even gonna play around with this nigga. We out of here." Hold on now, not too much on the Rodriguez name though, now. Come on now.
Coming up to the curve.
That might be my cousin.
Nice little shortcut. Get around that curve. Nice work in that corner. Whoa.
Go with me, brother. Go with me, Jay.
Oh, wait a minute.
About 30 south.
I'm smoking.
Oh yeah, matter of fact, I forgot we went through that. Oh, you were still with it.
Oh, knock the mirror off that bitch.
Inside shoulder.
Mirror out.
Damn, he thought he had it, brother.
This driver clearly knew what he was doing. He
Oh, yeah,
kept
get
pushing,
through there.
touching 130 miles per hour, cutting through heavy traffic, and threading
I ain't gonna
past
lie, he didn't know
semi-trucks
what he
with
was
precision.
doing, 'cause he
At one
coulda
point,
got-
he
I mean,
scraped the
that
concrete barrier
shoulder
at
probably
130 miles
smaller
per
than
hour,
I'm pretty sure
almost
that's-
destroying the
That is
Charger,
small as
but
hell.
somehow
Small as
kept
hell.
it
Now
moving.
that I seen that
With
part,
traffic
yeah.
stacked, the trooper had no
Just the
safe
mirror
or legal
really not
options.
bad.
Yeah.
Looks like we're gonna get stopped in traffic. Stand by.
Oh, he got caught.
He ain't got no
Right.
shoulder
Oh.
now. Oh, he's good, brother. He's going across the bridge. This nigga dumb as hell. Going across
He's
the bridge,
selling.
bro. Nah, this nigga
Selling.
dumb as hell. This nigga in the middle of the ocean getting chased by the police right now. This nigga.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, shit.
Hold on.
that
Oh,
bitch.
nigga.
Hold on,
No
He's
cap.
coming up to the state line.
Never mind. He's not going nowhere. Oh, he hit his
Crash.
ass.
Oh, yeah. He about to crash him into the car in front.
Crash into somebody else, and then they gonna get out, not move. We gonna be good.
23 still calling traffic.
Yeah, he like, yeah, let me get from here, bro.
He just crossed the state line.
Nah, real
better watch
shit.
the fuck
Yeah,
out.
he moving through
They,
there.
look, that whole line already cleared.
I attempted a TVI on him, unsuccessful.
Damn.
I've slowed my patrol speed down. 55, we're in Tennessee.
This right turn is signal. He trying to get back in the line?
Nah, that shit hanging out there.
Okay, go ahead, 22.
Okay. We're in Memphis right now. I'm still behind him in heavy traffic. If you can get Memphis PD on the phone. It's SRT Hellcat, Paul David
I ain't
Lincoln,
gonna lie, I would've been
6999,
on the
Texas.
shoulder with it, right there to the right. Excuse me, let me get this fucking phone. He
We'll
bugging.
make contact with that.
Than that. I've been any.
He's continuing on to Crump.
What the police doing? Hello?
Because he not going nowhere.
Still on Crump
It's
right now.
traffic.
Once the road finally opened up,
Shit, he going
the
somewhere
Charger
now.
went all in. At
Well, now he
130
low-key-
miles
now he
per hour,
low-key out of
the
there.
driver
Hold on,
blew
hold
through a
on.
red light, and that was the moment Trooper Morris realized this wasn't the day. He wasn't trained or prepared to die on that road, so he backed off. The driver.
Brother. He washed him. That's what I was saying. Like, what is he doing? He driving
Nah,
like
at first he dropped his speed, so I thought because it was heavy traffic. He gave up.
yeah, once he got off that you dig, he was. I'm like, damn, you about to let the nigga leave?
Still on Crump right now.
Nah, brother.
Once
he
the
got
road finally
scared.
opened up, the Charger went all in. At 130 miles per hour, the driver blew through a red light, and that was the moment Trooper Morris realized this wasn't the day. He wasn't trained or prepared to die on that road, so he backed off. The driver kept going, crossed state lines, and was never found.
Out of there on
For
his
3
ass.
agonizing miles, a Dodge Challenger was the most frustrating vehicle on the interstate, casually camping in the passing lane at a sluggish 65 miles per hour. But the moment an Arkansas trooper hit his lights for a routine stop, that slow-moving roadblock woke up. The driver flicked on his right turn signal to fake a polite surrender, using the brief hesitation to line up a massive launch. He pinned the throttle to the floorboard and vanished, forcing the trooper to push his cruiser to a terrifying 139 miles per hour, just to keep the fleeing vehicle in his sights.
Oh, he might be out of there on his ass, brother.
What kind of car he in though? He getting
Charger.
low. Oh yeah, right.
Might be out of there on his ass.
But I know he on his ass. He on that nigga ass.
Nah, he back on.
About to lose the camera.
It's bumpy as hell.
Real shit.
Oh, he about to hit him. Why would you go on the shoulder, bro? Open road. You risk taking the entire car. That's dumb as hell.
Nah,
Just
for real.
Oh!
Gee.
Oh! Oh! Fast as hell, brother. Oh!
Damn. How do I?
Oh, he trying to get up out of there. He said, oh, we out of there. We
At
out of here.
120 miles per hour, the trooper executed a perfect
He
pit,
hopped
sending
out
the
of there.
Challenger into
Get
a
on
violent
hook.
spin that ended only when it shredded itself against the cable barriers. Gordon scrambled out the passenger side to finish the escape on foot, but he didn't get far. After a chaotic wrestling match
for
in the
real, where
grass,
is
the
he
trooper
going?
and a brave bystander finally pinned the resisting suspect.
A
Driver
bystander is
Dontarius
crazy.
Gordon
See,
was
mind
hauled
your
off to
business,
jail
people.
facing 3 to 10
One day
years in
y'all gonna
prison.
think y'all got somebody trying to help 12, and they gonna rock your dumb ass. And And now you just fucked your life because you ain't want to mind the business in GTA.
It look like it's gonna be taken.
Fucking money. Always want to be captain and save that man. Mind your fucking business, people.
Watch this Arkansas trooper chase a black Charger at 135 miles per hour.
Oh damn, I ain't even
Then
know the
every
video
light
was switched.
disappears. Complete darkness.
Was it?